Okay. Here, more Amstrad Action. We get to start issue number 42. You're still not even halfway through these. Yeah. But as we get through them quicker, though, as the game numbers per issue sort of start to dwindle a bit. Anyway. Issue number 42, March 1989. £1.25. Crash Course. The Only Way Is Up with Chuck Yeager on page 38. Airborne Ranger on page 40. Plus, how to write a bestseller. How to control your business. How to boost mini Office 2. Winning This Is Not a Simulation. Fly with Microprose. Great competition on page 15. We got this ad again. The Ocean Force. Action, March 1989. Amscene, the inside stories and all the very latest news. Reaction, another barrage of controversy demanding that something be done. Serious side for the Camel Interceptor, a mini Office 2 turbocharger. Here's the AA treatment, and we have a background story on one of the longest established mail order firms. Action begins on 37. Chuck Yeager, EA's early bid for Game of the Year, versus Airborne Ranger. Microprose, shoot it out. Oh, I see what they did there. Hot tips, tape hints galore. Plain Sales, a brand new integrated sales system from SD Microsystems, and here's Pat to give it a good working over on your behalf. Action test, page 37. Beginning on page 37, you'll find the best reviews on Chuck Yeager's Advanced Flight Trainer, Rambo 3, Airborne Ranger, Treasure Island Dizzy, WC Le Mans, 4x4 Off-Road Racing, War on Middle Earth, Bad Dudes vs. Dragon Ninja, and more besides. So what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's 8 of the games that we get to see. Unfortunately, there's only 9 games reviewed in this issue. So one got ignored. Treasure Island Dizzy. The Oliver Twins are back for Desert Island Disc. WEC Le Mans, a driving sim that makes Outrun look like Outrun. How to Get Rich. Simple, really. Just write a string of best-selling budget games. Nothing to it. Philip Oliver spills the beans. Good news! Suddenly, everything was looking hunky-dory for the CPC. Lots of 6128s were sold over Christmas, and software suppliers report buoyant sales of games and serious software too. And even now, in the traditionally slack New Year period, it looks as if this good news is set to continue. Just look at the games appearing this month. Both Airborne Ranger, see page 40, and Chuck Yeager's Advanced Flight Trainer, page 38, are superb simulations, and are sure to be strong contenders when we get around to deciding a top 10 of 89. Indeed, I wouldn't be at all surprised if one of them was the Game of the Year. On the serious side, we have a brand new integrated accounts package reviewed on page 20 and a turbocharger for Mini Office 2 on page 16. There's another item of good news for the CPC too, and that's the arrival of Trenton Webb, a new games reviewer. It'll take him a while to settle in, and I hope you'll give him the traditional AA writer's welcome, such as tons of letters, cheats, hints, tips, suggestions, that kind of thing. And even in his first month, he's written some brilliant reviews. Action test begins on page 37, by the way, and he's got a great sense of humour too. Here's a picture. Here's Trenton, not quite as wacky as his something might suggest. I don't know what that says. That made the text too small now. Right, so Pilgrim Special, the second and crucial part of the Amstrad Adventure of the Year competition. Discount software. Amscene, releases, updates, previews, new releases, updates, previews. CPC sales Go crazy! You'll love them, Giants 4 Soccer Sims, and the evergreen recently repackaged Mini Office 2. The unexpected success of CPC sales in both hardware and software has put pressure on Amstrad to cut prices. Recently compiled figures for the vital Christmas period, when sales of machines and games reached their peak, have shown that the CPC is continuing to do well. And despite Amstrad's firm refusal to date to cut the listed price for the range, Dixon's, Lasky's, Comet, and Toys R Us were all able to offer substantial discounts. Popular Computing Weekly quoted Dixon's as selling more CPCs than Commodore 64s, but Comet appears to have done best of all in hardware sales. Dave Webb, senior salesman at Comet's Sally Oak store in Birmingham, said that sales before Christmas had gone very well. It was unfortunate, though, that in the week before Christmas we just couldn't get hold of stocks. We were getting 3 to 5 inquiries a day that we could do nothing about. The home entertainment centre had not been a big success, Webb said. Comet sales meteoric. Comet in Birmingham had dropped the price for most combinations by £100, selling the 6128 with colour monitor for £299 and the 464 with colour monitor at £199. We have guessed that this branch has sold perhaps 50 to 60 for the 6 weeks before Christmas, and could have sold as many as 20 to 30 a week if the stocks had been available. In Liverpool, and the new Sefton Walk branch of Comet, which opened shortly before Christmas, appeared to be selling CPCs in considerable numbers. In stark contrast, Tricia Stedman, manageress of Liverpool's huge Bits and Bytes store, has said the sales of hardware had been hopeless, pathetic, long overdue. The CPC is long overdue for repricing to restore its competitive edge against the Amiga, ST, Commodore 64, and Spectrum. Amstrad's limp response has been to experiment by offering its home entertainment centre exclusively to the Comet High Street chain. Comet took substantial stocks of the CPC range, enough to enable it to cut official prices in some areas by as much as £100. This has not pleased smaller independent retailers, who found themselves unable to buy wholesale as cheaply as Comet was selling to the public. Some have sarcastically offered to save Amstrad distribution the trouble of delivering by fetching supplies from Comet's shelves. Software hard sell. And while hardware was continuing to sell in steady quantities for some high street stores, the strength of software sales took many by surprise. Tricia Stedman of Bits and Bytes said software had sold very well indeed. US Gold's Giants and Thunderblade, Codemasters 4 soccer simulators, and Ocean's Operation Wolf had all been very successful, while Double Dragon and Afterburner would have been had they made it to the shelves on time. Ken Fairhurst of K&M, a mail-order company specialising in CPC software, offered an estimate that sales were up 3,000% on last Christmas. This figure included 10 copies a day of Mini Office 2 and 5,000 3-inch discs a month, he claimed. And Mike Cooper of MJC Supplies told the same story, with twice or 3 times as much as last year is his estimate. Codemasters get themselves in a dizzy. The Oliver twins and Dizzy. Dizzy is in the middle, obviously. Dizzy 2, bugged. An embarrassing bug has come to light in Codemasters' latest budget game, Treasure Island Dizzy. Some copies of the first batch of the game, reviewed on page 42 this month, bought by the public, were seriously bugged, causing the game to freeze when the lovable character enters the water with a snorkel on. It seems that some confusion between the game's programmers, Philip and Andrew Oliver, and Codemasters resulted in an unchecked master being sent for duplication. We've had about 20 or 30 calls here, Richard Darling told AA, so it was clear that some copies had got into circulation. 2 batches of 7,000 copies were duplicated by 2 different companies, Tudor and Stanley, from what were thought to be identical masters. Those 2 or 3 days after first copies had gone out to the main distributors prior to delivery to the shops, before the bug was discovered. It could be over 1,000 that got into shops initially, Darling admitted, though we believe we've recovered most of them. The problem has proved expensive for Codemasters, who are now stuck with 7,000 useless copies. Anyone who bought a bugged version should either return to the shop where they bought it, have it replaced, later copies don't suffer from the bug, or phone Codemasters. It's Obviously expensive and a nuisance for us, Richard Darling admitted, but we'd rather that than upset our customers. Their playtesting system has now been changed, he added. Before we'd test one master exclusively, and the other one just to check that it loads. Now we're being more careful. Art Studio is back in the frame. The easiest to use art package for the CPC is making a comeback. The Advanced Art Studio, written by Oxford Computer Publishing's James Hutchby and distributed by Rainbird, has recently been unavailable, much to the annoyance of retailers and mail order firms who found themselves in the unusual position of having orders they couldn't satisfy. Very soon, distributors will have all the copies of Art Studio they want, Bill Richardson, owner and managing director of EEC, told AA. It's the first serious whimper-driven graphics program. With the advanced versions now available, it's still the best of its kind in the utility graphics field. Rainbird originally bought the license from OCP against royalties. AAS enjoyed a considerable success, but late last year, Rainbird decided to allow the license to lapse. We've been very happy with the Rainbird licensing deal, Richardson said. We owe a great deal to British Telecom, Rainbird's parent company, for helping us to continue development of the Art Studio range, and we're happy to buy back the license and sell it ourselves direct. Meanwhile, OCP had gone into liquidation, with its assets and rights passing to another company, EEC. EEC recovered the license from Rainbird, together with a large pile of unsold stock, Spectrum, not Amstrad. The new prices, slightly lower than before, £15.95 for Art Studio and £19.95 for the Advanced Art Studio. Appropriately enough, the relinquishment of Rainbird's interest in the Art Studio range frees him to concentrate their attention on Weird Dreams, written by James Hutchby, author of Art Studio. Ooh. Learn with a Smile. A new educational program has been released by Database Software. Fun School 2 is available in 3 versions for under 6 years old, 6 to 8 year olds, and over 8s. Under 6s, for example, get 8 programs from teddy counting, spelling, and guessing games to shape identification, colour spotting, and moving around a teddy bear's maze. Learning has never been such fun, Database's Mike Cowley said, and both children and teachers have told us so. We've done extensive tests in the north of England for Fun School 2. We think it's the perfect combination of learning and fun. Fun School 2 costs $9.95 tape and $12.95 disc. Look out for the full review in AA next month. Learning can be fun, insists Database. Minerva Systems Random Access Database, which we mentioned last month, is not $39.95 as we said, but $29.95. New Bronzeword. A new junior word processing program has been released by Brunning Software, the company that gave the world Brunword and InfoScript. Brunword Junior costs $12.95 and has all the features of the £25 Brunword 6128, but 2. The text area is reduced to hold a generous page of text, Peter Brunning told us. And you can't add words to the 30,000 dictionary. The deal includes an on-disk tutor, but we're skimping on fancy packaging. Youngsters and people new to computers in general, and word processing in particular, will find everything they need in Junior Brunword. Brunning claimed, it's a stepping stone. Eventually people will want the full version, and they can upgrade for $12.95. New Brunword Junior, a sawn-off version. Take the safe upgrade route. A new company is offering a safe upgrade for owners of 464s and 664s. If you're not technically minded but want to upgrade your machine to a 6128, all you have to do is pack up your machine and send it off to VSC Technical Services, based at the Mercury Asset Management Centre in London. It'll do the rest. If you don't know what you're doing, you could damage your machine, Tim Morris said. Double-sided boards are involved, and without extreme care when desoldering the holes and so on, you could end up worse off than before you started. The upgrade includes a 40025 ROM, a DK Tronic 64K memory pack, and a CPM Plus system disc. The usual price is £87.70, said Tim, but we're offering our lovely readers an £8 discount, taking the whole thing, including VAT and postage, down to $79.70. Just say in your letter you read about an AA and we'll do the rest. VSC's safe upgrade. Send them a 464 and they'll send you a 6128 minus disk drive. Anyway. hard disk for CPCs. Furniture has always been in short supply for the CPCs. So a warm welcome, please, for possibly the studios, and at £45 or 20 kilograms, as you youngsters would call it. Certainly the heaviest disc yet produced for the Amstrad. The welded steel structure features casters to save you from putting your back out, and your disc is likely to outlast not only your computer but your house as well. A nice idea is the inclusion of 3 1-meter extension leads. Cost including P&P is $69.50 from Organisers. Organisers CPC disc. Love it or ignore it, you can't lift it. CPC gun coming soon. Electric Studio, producer of the ever-popular Electric Studio light pen, has announced plans to release a light gun for the CPC. Dave Buckingham, head of Electric Studio, is looking forward to the introduction of the new add-on. We've already got a working prototype, and now we're putting it into production, he told AA. He also indicated that his company are themselves also in the process of developing software for the light gun. Peter Phillips, marketing man behind Electric Studio, is a little more cautious. The resurgence of interest in the light pen at Christmas made us look at the CPC again, he said. And we believe there could be considerable interest in such a device. Light guns are pistol-shaped controllers that work in a way similar to light pens. A signal is transmitted out of the monitor along with the normal picture. When the signal sees the signal by means of a receptor mounted in the barrel, it flags the computer, which works out where the gun is pointing on the screen. A trigger is also built in, enabling the user to shoot what the gun is pointing at on screen. This sort of add-on is ideal for games such as Operation Wolf by Ocean, or Infogrames Prohibition, which involve moving sights, usually crosshairs, around the screen and blasting the opposition. People prefer playing shoot-em-ups to the highly skilled flying games, so duck-shoot games are in. They could receive a massive boost with the added arcade attraction of a light gun. The fate of the light gun lies with software companies. Electronic Arts Development Officer Kevin Shrapnel commented, "We would implement it, supposing that it was compatible for our projects." Oh, perhaps it would be better to say that we've no reason not to include it. It would have to be easy to implement. I'm not too sure about this idea. It's the first time I've heard about it. Mind you, he pointed out, there is a precedent in the bewildering number of joystick interfaces for the Sinclair Spectrum. Developers have been given all the technical details on how the different systems work. If we receive information on how to use this light pen, then we're in a position to include the option. Right now, we're not. The experience of US Action, who produce a light gun for the Amiga, suggests that the main battle is to convince software houses to include a suitable sprite collision routine that enables the light pen to work with particular games. The gun only works with US Actionware games and therefore extremely severely limited in its appeal. US Action have no plans for a CPC version. Domark scoop Atari. Domark has secured the contract to convert Atari coin-op games for the CPC until 1991. The license, to be titled Tengen, is to publish and market the software in the UK, Europe and Australia. It should standardise conversions and claim Domark lead to a more faithful reproduction of the original than has been the case in the past, with different software houses handling different arcade home computer swapovers. Domark will be able to build consumer loyalty and to bring out the next Atari games arcade hit in CPC versions featuring optimum programming quality. Mark Strahan, Joint Managing Director, and the Mark in Domark told AA. The first game to undergo the Domark treatment is to be Vindicators, a futuristic tank combat game with a two-player option. It's to be followed by 4 other conversion releases later this year. Zybots, Zap'em, APB, Arrestem, Dragon Spirit, Burnham, and Tubin, River Rafting in an inner tube. We've always supported the CPC, Strahan boasted, and Vindicators, the Amstrad's colours, make it even better conversion than the C64 or Spectrum. Vindicators is a multi-directional 3D game featuring battle tanks, which have to be driven through 14 space stations. Watch the skies, the reviews are coming. Wacky Funsters Dominic Wheatley and Mark Strahan of Domark will discuss the finer points of marketing strategy. Weird dreams for the young and easily frightened. If you've been watching TV a lot lately, you may have seen Weird Dreams, a section of TVS's Saturday morning Motormouth show. Soon you'll be able to experience the same sensation on the CPC when Rainbird published the home computer version. You too will be able to beat the maggot monster with a fish in the comfort of your own home. The game was programmed by EEC's James Hutchby, author of the OCP Art Studio. James Hutchby, author of Weird Dreams. I'm not sure this got released. Guess we'll find out eventually. Reagan returns. Just when you thought it was safe to go back to the White House, the ghost of Ronnie Reagan rears his head in the form of a new game from Activision, bearing the title of the great man's brainchild, SDI. The game is in essence a space shoot-'em-up, just like the real thing. Not entirely the most original concept for a game, but we'll let it speak for itself when reviewed. As after Activision, though they've not only beaten USAF to the punch by a couple of decades, they've done it for a few $1 billion less. And it works! Probably. Musical snippets. Music lovers look out. Coming soon to AA, the first review of a brand new multi-track step-time MIDI sequencer from Foundation Software. It's the only step-time sequencer available for the CPC range, Foundation's Chris Owen claimed. The MIDI sequencer cost $29.95 from Foundation. Last month, in our review of Neverworld, we gave the credit for the excellent continuous tune to the wrong chap. Step forward and take a bow, Dave Rogers, who writes for Hewson. Finally, some bad news. The advanced music system distributed by Rainbird has been dropped. But watch the space. When you buy a whole new Amstrad system, why use only half its potential? Reaction, dear AA, I wish to protest most strongly. Let us pray with HR reviews of the games that get released those days. At the price of discs or whatever. No doubt something in this issue of Amstrad Action or something that happens to you this month is going to A. Get your goat, B. Tickle your fancy, C. Rub you up the wrong way, or even D. All of the above. But don't just keep it under your hat, let off steam. We care and listen. Every single letter received is read, and we publish as many as we can. And one letter each month wins a software voucher for £15. Get the writing paper out, or your printer, and write now to Reaction. Ecstatic. With regard to T.C. Hockney's letter, AA41, what he noticed coming off TV screens is no more than static electricity. Dust sticks to the screen because of the screen's negative charge, like attracting bits of paper, and with a comb after brushing your hair. All computer monitors emit electromagnetic radiation, like X-rays. You cannot feel, see, or touch this radiation, yet as you sit in front of your CPC, you are being continuously bombarded with it. Is this radiation that is causing all the trouble? Many other computer manufacturers, such as IBM, have cut down on these rays by constructing earth metal casings around components. Amstrad do not, as the emissions from the CPC's screen is probably higher than professional VDU operators. There's probably... Are you missing anything here? No. Okay. No conclusive evidence has yet been found, either for or against the VDU argument. But if anyone is worried, take regular short breaks away from the machine every couple of hours. You'll probably have eye strain by then anyway, but that's another story. John Ambrose, Nuneaton. Thanks a bunch, John. I'll bear it in mind. You've got me all worried now. Eulogy for my joystick, now defunct. Rest in peace, oh joystick, my plastic pal, whose pixel precision did never fail, and whose trendy colours, black and red, will no more delight me now that you're dead. You served me well, though cruelly treated, did not protest when overheated. You did not complain or start the ball, and when I smashed your circuits against the wall. Abuse. Mere mortal that I am, I failed to notice. The warning sparks, the rigor mortis, the wisps of smoke on me were lost. You did not tell me your wires were crossed. Do not sigh because you are no longer able to increase those figures on the high school table, for you will always be our most precious thing, until I get my paws on a iconic Speed King. Kathy Thrower, barking. Yeah, I'm sure she threw a joystick around a bit. Your sad tale of woe made all of us cry. Big Pat was in tears and so was I. Trenton was weeping, although he tried not to sob, because we think he's soft, he's out of a job. It's a terrible feeling when your joystick just goes. It's a bitter experience each one of us knows. But Kathy, your tale has a happy ending. For a £20 token, to you we're sending. I mean £15, right? Violence, the very last words. Last month we printed 2 letters from WMACC Smith of Windsor on the subjects of violence and bad language in computer games. Here's a selection of your replies. Sense and nonsense. After reading the farcical letter by W. Smith in AA41, I feel I must write to you regarding violence and computer games. Today's society is a violent one, but we cannot say with certainty that it wasn't just as violent 10 years ago. Why? Because of the media. Newspapers are more widely read today than before. More people watch television, and also because of the fact that communications as a whole have improved immeasurably. The result is that even the lesser, although no less serious, acts of violence are more widely reported. So people hear more about violence and begin to wonder, it wasn't like this when I was young. Why are people, though they usually think of teenagers, doing this? They then look around at what children have now, which they didn't have before. What they are actually doing is looking for a scapegoat. We've all done it. You make a mistake doing something, someone tells you, and you try to blame something beyond your control. Television, rock music, alcohol, and videos have all been blamed, but most people have access to and feel they may understand these things and their effects. So the blame must lie, as some obviously think, with something that is relatively new and is not fully understood by the masses and is used to a large extent by that younger generation. The ideal candidate is the computer. These blinkered people fail to see the problem may have arisen due to the increased teenage population, the sentences imposed by the courts, racial friction, just to mention a few. Why blame the present generation? Could previous generations and the establishment, government, courts, etc., not be to blame in any way? Can it not be accepted that computer games provide an element of escapism? They may annoy and perplex and frustrate, but also relax and entertain people. Playing a game can remove you from the everyday worries. It improves hand-eye coordination and concentration, invaluable for people with a mental handicap, and instills a sense of achievement when the game is completed. I like to think I have a good imagination, but I could in no way imagine that being able to destroy a sprite on a 14-inch monitor would bestow me with the strength, power, etc. to actually start committing similar acts of violence for real. The argument against computer games isn't ridiculous. It isn't because there's no argument. Behaviors is really changed by a single factor. It takes a sequence of events and the influence of environment, mood, and interpersonal relationships, and many more things besides. And it is mainly the consequences of a behaviour which determines whether or not an action is carried out. If the consequences of behaving in a certain way are unpleasant, you are less likely to perform that way. After all, those older people who are now complaining about computer games probably consider themselves well-adjusted, mature people, yet who is to say that their parents did not think the same about influences in their children's lives? It is a fact that the nation's IQ is rising, so give us some credit for having brains and not being able to distinguish between fantasy and reality. Mark Riley, registered nurse for the mentally handicapped, Watlington. Couldn't agree more, Mark, with everything you say. You put it rather well too, if you don't mind me saying so. We give you our word. Having forked out the tidy sum of £1.25 for the February issue of Amstrad Action, I was less than pleased to find that you had devoted a full page to the infantile ramblings and overblown cliches of one WMACC Smith. Should this joker submit any more letters to you, I suggest you forward them to the Beano, where he, at least, will find a readership of a similar mental age to himself. Charles Wood Kimberley. Don't worry, Charles. You won't be reading any more letters in AA from WMACC Smith. I can assure you. That is, if you don't read this next one. Don't read this, Charles. Your comments on my 2 letters are barely worth a counter-response. Nevertheless, I'll make a few remarks. In the first instance, I do not try to impress with long words. My standard of education demands that I use English language with care and consideration. If your readers do not like the way I express myself, then that is your and their privilege, but it does not give you the right to adopt a sneering attitude. Christ was the only man without sin, yet I would remind you that he was extremely angry when he found moneylenders in the temple and overthrew their tables. In conclusion, if my letters are just so much rubbish, why on earth did you waste valuable space printing them? W.M.A.C.C. Smith, Windsor. Quite so. Sorry, we don't have space to print all of your latest letter. This correspondence is now firmly closed. Questions and answers concerning all this fuss about violent computer games. What is needed to stop all this fuss over violent computer games? An article in The Independent saying how they benefit stable childhood development by weakening the eyesight of the more persistent players. It has been proven to reduce street crime, as no myopic youth is going to start any trouble whilst wearing NHS spectacles. What is gutter etymology? The study of language emitted by insects as they fall off the curb. That's gutter entomology. It's a study of the development of words whilst falling off the curb. What are the despised and old-fashioned virtues? Slavery, poverty, and ZX81 RAM pack wobble. When do illustrations leave nothing to the imagination? When your imagination is either overactive or non-existent. There's 2 of Mr. Smith's unfair share of vices. 1. Writing silly letters. 2. Getting 2 of them published in the same month. Which came first, Mr. Smith's letters or the well-argued reply? Neither. They were written simultaneously by 2 unattended PCWs in parallel universes by pangalactic anthropods. Why are you unaffected by violent computer games? Because I'm not clever enough to relate a few badly drawn pictures on a video screen to real life. Dean Cracknell, Alton Hance. Thanks for that, Dean. Don't know where we'd be without you. By the way, just in case you suspected otherwise, we do not invent WMACC Smith. He does exist, honest. Though I must say, filling the letters page for AA the last couple of months would have been much more difficult without him. That partly explains a point in a later letter, but I anticipate myself. Oh boy. Oh no. But is it our type of game? I disagree totally with GBH's review of R-Type. It may be his last ever issue, but he has no right to slag off a completely playable and enjoyable arcade conversion. The graphics are more detailed than most games since they are in Mode 1, even though they are maybe monochrome. The scrolling is adequate and smooth, and the speed of the ship is very good. If you get further into the game, the many sprites on the screen do not slow down movement at all. What sound effects would you want? The explosions are well done, and the visual effect of the explosions follows the arcade machine accurately. Obviously, the reason for the biased, prejudiced, and poorly written review was that GBH didn't get far enough into the game. I mean, devoting 2 paragraphs to level 1 and vaguely referring to level 2 as things start getting tougher shows this is so. It is a good arcade conversion. I hate to think what would have turned out if it had been in chunky mode 0. Mike Wong, Sale. Well, Mike, we mightn't agree with you, but we were so impressed with the way you argued your case. We did something that, to the best of our knowledge, we've never done before, and allowed a reader the opportunity to write his own verdict. Mike Wong's verdict. Graphics 89%, good scrolling and detailed sprites. Good explosions. Sonics 51%. Beam sound good. Graph factor XX%. Lots of weapons. Lose weapons on death. Staying power 93%. Tough guardians. Credit system keeps you at it. MW rating 91%. Brilliant arcade conversion. Not enough levels. Mike Wong's verdict of R-Type. We gave it 51%. you see here, futile effects. Hey, here we go, here's Sugar Man. Best part of the magazine. What's your problem, jerk? Blam. Boom. I am Redundant Man. I was sacked during the recent job cuts at Amstrad. I will have vengeance. Amstrad has to be lean to be efficient, schmuck. And now I'm going to lean efficiently on your face. Yeah, I got a surprise for you. Ah, no, not that. Yes, your only bane. An empty wallet. You fiend. Wave, wave. Stop. I'll get you another job. I've got connections. My own office? Yes. My own desk? Yes. A secretary I can sexually harass? Yes. Some crumpet with your tea, sir? Snigger. Amstrad Action editor. Here lie all who miss a deadline. I should have wasted them. Well, never know where he came from. Romantic Robot presents the ultimate personal copier. Multi-Face 2. £5 off. Oh. Would you like to fly? While the editor's out of the office enjoying his usual lavish expenses paid ego trip, we, the AA team, the ones who actually do the work around here, thought we'd take the opportunity to tell you about this fabulous competition we've fixed up for those mega guys at MicroPros to celebrate their brilliant Airborne Ranger review on page 40. And since we know how much the old fool hates flying, we thought we'd send him too. Here's the questions. What does the Airborne Ranger wear? Is it A, a natty blue boiler suit, B, long johns and overcoat and Wellingtons, or C, battle dress? 2. How many first aid packs does he have? Is it A, none, B, 3, or C, 4? 3. Waiting for the pilot to return is like waiting for A, Pat to write his pages, C, Steve to fetch a coffee, or C, the 74 bus. The prizes. The winner will spend an all expenses paid day out at MicroPros with assorted goodies and a trip in the new MicroPros plane. The losers. 10 second place runners up will each receive a simulator trilogy bundle comprising Gunship, F-15 and Silent Surface. Together with posters. You don't win the game? Why didn't you win the game? Well, it's an Airborne Ranger competition. You want to win Airborne Ranger, don't you? Oh, camel ye faithful. Interceptor provides extra features for Mini Office 2, adding greater user friendliness to an already popular system. Even more importantly, it suggests a new area for future CPC programming. This Mini Office 2 turbocharger gets the Pat McDonald treatment, while Steve Carey talks to John Kennelly, the man behind the company. Sorry about the headline, by the way. Interceptor, $14.99, 128K, disc only. Camel Micros, Well Park, Wiley's Avenue, Exeter. King of Camelot. Steve Carey talks to John Kennelly. John Kennelly's computing experience began with the TRS-80, the old Tandy Radio Shack monster, which has been a very wide but short screen display and was not world famous for either speed or reliability. From that to the Spectrum was a revelation, a nicely self-contained, dependable machine, he says. The CPC was the first home computer that seemed to John to provide a bit of beef, something you could really get moving on. And indeed it did, for from it was born Camel Micros, one of the longest established CPC mail order companies still solvent. The camel of the name, by the way, refers to the river in Cornwall. You may remember Camelford being in the news not long ago as a result of water pollution. Oh no. Camel gives Pilgrim Hump. Camel has been going for 4 years now, but it's only in the last 18 months that they have been producing software for themselves and selling direct. The first project, for example, was the adventure-created Genesis for CRL. The Pilgrim, who reviewed it in the adventuring section of AA4, was impressed with the fact that it enabled you to incorporate sound and split-screen graphics into your games, but thought the whole package was a little short on documentation and friendliness. It's perhaps unlucky to be overshadowed by two other adventure creators that appeared at the time, Incentive's graphics adventure creator and The Quill, the granddaddy of them all. Genesis is still available, $9.95 tape, $22.95 for the considerably souped up disc version. And Kennedy claims to have received positive feedback from its users, but then he would, wouldn't he? Camel's other ventures include Grasp, a graphics graphing package, 1250 disc, and GM Chess, a beginner's tutorial, 1495 disc. Of the latter, Gary Rip decided its appeal was limited to chess buffs, AA38 63%, which, all things considered, is not surprising. Good news! Great time saver. Improves MiniOffice 2. Can be used with other programs. Bad news, 128K only. Calculator not over-friendly. Hot tips, get it taped with Pat McDonald. Tape tips. Why won't the tape load? This problem affects all tape users from time to time, but in most instances, the tape can be persuaded to load by cleaning the heads, azimuth adjustment. Bear in mind, use good quality tape. Audio tapes are quite suitable, but it is not necessary to use tapes which describe themselves as for computer use. I personally use TTK D60s and AD60 types. But if these are too long for you to use PC15. Whatever you select, make sure it's ferric. The frequency response of Chrome tapes doesn't work that well for computers. Cursor the slow people. Thanks to Type-ins for the great pull-down menus program in AA38. The cursor movement is too slow for most people. It's easily speeded up. If lines 11130 to 11160 are modified for multiply in front of each in-key expression. Choose other numbers of 8. Choose other numbers if 8 doesn't suit. Thanks, Arnold. Arnold Carlson, Benfleet. Thanks, Arnold. Other fast-fingered types will be grateful to you. K&M Computers, the leading Amstrad mail order specialist. Fast, friendly, reliable service. Mind your own business. If you want to use the Amstrad CPC to help run your business, the choice of software is limited. There's only one with a comprehensive range, SD Microsystems. Pat McDonald fits their latest edition. The Stock Accounting System, $39.95, 128K disc only, upgrade available. SD Micros, PO Box 24 Hitchin Hertz. While it's true to say that it's a while since Amstrad themselves used CPCs to calculate their huge profits, there are many, many small firms which have discovered that you don't need to spend £40,000 on computerizing your accounts. TSAS is an integrated stock control and invoicing system for the 6128. At present, it doesn't work well on an expanded 464. SD Micros are working on the problems and should have them sorted by the time you read this. In addition, a printer is vital. Good news, comprehensive, easily learned, excellent backup from SD Micros. Bad news, manual should have been better. Doesn't yet work too well on 464 with memory expansion. Acid test. The acid test of any software, but particularly a program designed to help run a business, is how it performs over time. We've invited the owner of a retail business to give the stock accounting system an extended trial. Look out for the verdict in about 3 months' time. It's a small ads. Problematic. Here's the man with the plan, Pat McDonald. Get them off. Get your contributions off now to Problematic. How to write a bestseller. So you want to be a games programmer, but do you know what you're taking on? What exactly is involved in writing a game? Where do you start? We asked Philip Oliver, half of the Oliver twins, who wrote Dizzy, BMX Simulator. They didn't. Grand Prix Simulator, and a dozen others for budget specialists, Codemasters, to tell us what life is like as a full-time writer of games. Darling Brothers did BMX Simulator, didn't they? The Oliver twins did Pro BMX Simulator. Different game, slightly. Anyway, the first and most obvious question is, what style of game should we write? Do we go for colourful flat sprites, 3D sprites like arcade car racing games, or vector graphics, filled or unfilled? We can rule out the last of these, as in our opinion, they're boring, which is why arcade coin-ops never use them in these days. That leaves the other two, and we've worked with both 3D sprite games, however lack depth. That leaves the other two, and we've worked with both 3D sprite games, however lack depth, because most of the memory has been used for different sizes of similar sprites. See Figure 1. Background work. For all games except perhaps flat sprite games, you need a background screen. You update all the sprites to their new positions and then swap them to the foreground screen. There are two ways of doing this. You can either copy every byte out, which is slow, or redirect the screen points to the new section of memory. You can often tell a game that's copying bytes because it has large, pretty borders to reduce the size of the area being copied. The good news about having a background screen is that you eliminate flickery sprites. The bad news is that it uses up a great deal of memory. We usually choose to accept some flicker as a price worth paying for having larger, more detailed games. Figure 1, this is how we did 3D Starfighter. Obviously, the more steps used, the smoother the flow of gameplay, but equally, obviously, more steps means more memory eaten up. Making history. For several months, Codemasters were asking us to do a follow-up to our most successful game, Grand Prix Simulator, which for several rather complicated reasons, was reaching the end of its life. We felt we wanted to keep producing new and original games, but on the other hand, it did seem that it was a particularly strong title and that producing a follow-up would be very rewarding, financially, if not artistically. When we were free to begin, i.e. we'd finished current projects, Treasure Island Dizzy and BMX Simulator 2, we put together a game plan, bearing in mind that what were the good and bad points of the original. The main criticism had been the poor rotations of the cars. They looked more like cardboard boxes. Unfortunately, they simply had to be small to allow a decent track design, and the only way to get around it was to use a higher resolution mode, Mode 1. Now, although this mode allows fewer colours, a good artist like Neil Adamson can use shading to produce more realistic graphics. The other criticism was that the game was too difficult, especially it seemed for reviewers. This should be easy enough to improve. Reduce the sliding and increase the time limit. As for improvements, new tracks would be essential, of course. And a replay option like BMX seemed a good idea. Quite easy to do, by the way. During the game, every key pressed is stored into a buffer and then read back for the replay. On the level. An annoying point about many games, including GPS, is that you find you're constantly playing the same levels with no change simply so you can progress to higher levels. Unfortunately, putting a select level option is no alternative, since this gives the game a very short life. You just go through each level until you fluke it. And when you've been in all of them, the game gets buried in your bottom drawer and is never looked at again. This is the reason, incidentally, why we don't reveal our cheat words. With GPS 2, we allow time left over to be carried forward to the next race, so that every 10th of a second counts on those first levels if you're going to beat a game. Finally, we added a pits screen, in which you see the cars in the pits and are presented with information about how well you had done. This offers a good opportunity to introduce some more good graphics and sound. Typical items from Oliver's game description. Not very tidy, are they? Grand Prix Simulator 2, the cover's so good someone's bound to nick it. Once we decided what we're going to do, it was time to write a game description. The game description. It's vital before you start any project that you know what you want to do. And it's the same when you're writing a game. Description contains all the details of the game, sketches of the graphics, clever tricks of programming, and exact rules. It must also include a music description for David Whittaker, which outlines the tunes and sound required and lists where his code must go in memory so it doesn't interfere with ours. The description is then photocopied and sent to Codemasters. Neil Adamson, the graphics artist, Richard and David Darling read through it and then add comments. In this case, the only objection was the title. We wanted to call it Super Grand Prix Simulator, whereas they preferred Grand Prix Simulator 2. This might seem a tiny detail to the person who is actually considering buying the game, but in fact, getting the title exactly right is extremely important indeed. Incidentally, you may be wondering why there are so many Codemaster simulators. In the beginning there was BMX Simulator, which was a great game and sold well, as did Snooker Simulator, which followed it. We had almost completed our car game, which was the follow-up to BMX Simulator, when someone came up with the bright idea of calling it Grand Prix Simulator, when it became obvious that the simulator title was a sign of quality, and that future titles featuring the word would do equally well, the other programmers jumped on the bandwagon, as did other publishers, I might add. The making of an editor. Before we could get going properly with GPS2, we needed some graphics and sprites. Including car rotations, text, pictures of cars and so on, these Neil drew using the excellent OCP Art Studio, delivering them as usual a set of screen dumps, see figures 2 and 3. The other important graphic work is doing the tracks themselves. These are constructed from a set of 256 cells and consist of 8x8 pixels. They are then placed on a 24x24 grid to give a detailed track. Doing it like this is very primitive, but as we found with Jetbike, we can get great results, and it certainly makes programming shorter. We wrote an editor for Neil, adapted from the one we did for Jetbike. Several weeks later, we received his work, excellent as ever. While we were waiting, we wrote Fast Food. Then we had begun the tricky and boring task of coding the game. The first part is to make the cars move. The controls we wanted to give left, right, acceleration and brake, together with slope, friction, and occasionally crash parameters, all of which are passed to a routine which calculates the new position of the car. This routine must be perfect if the game is to play correctly, and it requires some complex maths, which takes up hundreds of lines of assembler. Because we were not using a background screen, the car's sprites had to be deleted and repositioned very quickly in time for the raster scan to avoid flicker. 8 days a week. This all took about a week to get right. Then came the task of programming the timing and scoring system, together with ways of displaying them. This took another week. By the way, we both work full time, often until 2 in the morning, 7 days a week. Oh yeah, you told me you didn't get up until 10:30, Ed. Then we put the title screen in with all the various options and did huge amounts of play testing. While doing this, we had to work out what was a reasonable time for each track. We also had to record and score our attempts, which would later be used as the computer paths you see when they race against you. What did prove impossible was to have them crashing, because this would require the cars to have the intelligence to rejoin the race, requiring calculating power which is just out of the question with the processor speed of the Z80. BMX Simulator 2 can do this, however, because the rider is knocked off, and the bike remains in the same part of the recorded path, with delays in the playback to imitate a crash, and then accelerate back up to speed. Debugger won't work. Finally, we added the music and play tested the game extensively. We found several bugs, such as displaying wrong scores, computer cars crashing off and becoming lost, and so on. Sorting these out is the most frustrating part of the programming, and in this case it took a whole fortnight to iron everything out. At this point we were able to give Codemasters a version which could be used to create a master for duplication. We then continued with the Spectrum version, which was particularly easy and took about a week. From this point onwards, it's up to the staff at Codemasters to get the game packaged and into the shops. This requires screenshots, cover illustrations, wording in several languages, and a whole heap of stuff besides. This all takes time, about 6 weeks on average, and if the game isn't in the shops by the time you read this, then it's stuck somewhere in the packaging, duplication, or distribution chain. As for our next product, it'll have to wait. We're off skiing. This is where we're going to get... No, we've done Pro Ski Simulator, haven't we? It's already been done. In Grand Prix Simulator 2, there's about 10,000 lines of assembler, 3 or 4 screens of very complex and accurate graphics, and finally, 5 minutes worth of original music. In addition, editors created to construct the courses, grab the sprites, sample speed, and so on, required a further 10,000 lines of assembler. Fancy. Words work. With Pat McDonald. No fancy description. Tiger, oh no. Coming soon on Commodore 64 cassette, Commodore 64 disc, Amstrad CPC cassette, Amstrad CPC disc, Spectrum cassette. Take up your sword, lance, tiger, and prepare for a deadly sortie into the bottomless depths of the earth. Marauding aardvarks and monstrous beasts of every shape and size crouch in dismal shadow thoughts of death riddle their evil minds. To survive in this world of dark and fear, you must kill without mercy, or you yourself shall feel the fear of tooth and claw. Tiger, definitely not for the faint of heart. Telecomsoft, first floor, New Oxford Street, London. Firebird, a legend in game software. The Look, Tales of CPC Graphics, graphically illustrated by Pat McDonald. Let's turn aside away from those direct problems of printing sprites to the logistical difficulties in programming and the way sprite routines are used. The first thing to consider when developing a sprite routine is how you want to use it. I could just write a listing, print a couple of hundred address and control points, and say get on with it. That's not going to happen. Dead right it ain't. Instead, I'll explain everything about the usage of the sprites, giving examples. Oh, here goes the gallery. These gallery entries look pretty good, eh? If you think you can do as well, don't hide your light under a bushel. Let us have them at the AA office, and you could win £20. Send entries on disc or tape, together with a short note telling us which art program you used, and an SAE if you want the pictures back. And David Thierry of Hamilton wins £20 for a superb collection. Football crazy. That's a good description of David Knight, who lives in Birmingham. Next month there will be a program to let you edit and design sprites, together with hints and tips on design and programming. And Eason Garfield from Simon Fincher. Who Framed Roger Rabbit? James Garside of Royal has framed not only Roger Rabbit, but Bob Hoskins too. Makis Keramidas of Thessaloniki was just a bit slow in sending in his seasonal entry. Merry Christmas. Iron Maiden fan David Thierry from Hamilton is responsible for this. Even regular Simon Fincher with yet another picture of Batman. I doubt if Greece is really this bright, but Makis Keramidas thinks so. Makis with a new AA logo. Amstrad Action. Okay. Artwork. Bar CPM. First steps past 7 with Richard Montero. We're taking the pip for the second and final time. That's Pip done to death. Next month we tackle Ed. Does someone call Ed? No, you all fool, the CPM text editor, Montero. Oh. First Bites, a simple hair series with Richard Montero. True 16-bit registers revealed in the stack and program counter, how to use them and when to leave them alone. Things start to hot up next month when we introduce the flap register and conditional jumps. The flap register? Sure. More adverts. Yeah, plenty of adverts. Day in the life. The things CPC users do. Stephen Palmer runs Computer Run in Abingdon, retailing computer hardware and software and offering consultancy for both home and business first-time computer users. He uses a CPC 6128 and a DMP 2000 printer. J.R.R. Tolkien's War in Middle-earth, interactive experience in Tolkien's trilogy. Available on Atari ST, Amiga, C64, IBM PC, Apple II GS, Amstrad and Spectrum. Distributed by Melbourne House. Setting new standards in computer software. Action test. Now look what we get to look at. War in Middle-earth. Enter Triton Webb, the wild man of games reviews. Hobbit forming or not, this page. Master game Chuck Yeager, page 37. Microprose Get Airborne, page 39. Treasure Island Dizzy, page 42. And Rambo 3, page 50. And notice they're repeating a few game names here because it might be a little less. You've got to fit them all in, I guess. But they're just 9 games in this issue. That's all of them, and 2 of them are repeatedly listed there. Anyway, first game is War in Middle-earth. Mastertronic. $9.99 cassette, no disc. Doesn't say disc in the advert, does it? No. Yeah, so $9.99 cassette, no disc. Joystick keys. War in Middle-earth is yet another in a long line of games such as The Hobbit, Lord of the Rings, and Shadows of Mordor, based on the works of J.R.R. Tolkien. Instead, attempts nothing less to capture the essence and plot of his classic Lord of the Rings trilogy. The computer plays Sauron, all-around bad guy and maker of the One Ring, into which he poured the majority of his power. Unfortunately for him, he lost it in a war with a guy named Isildur. And understanding War in Middle-earth is easy enough. You start out with a campaign map of Middle-earth, which fits onto the screen. By moving a pointer into a part of a map, you can zoom in on forces there. From there, you can give orders to individual units, telling them to move to a destination, merge with another unit, or follow a unit. This system is very simple to understand because you alter everything with directional movements and the fire button. The problem is that individuals are treated for movement in exactly the same way as armies. That is, they spread out while moving, so that when a band of screaming orcs descends upon one of the fellowship, chances are that they are on their own. There is a way around this, just hop from location to location. It cuts down the difficulties involved in movement, but it's very time consuming. I really can't see why 9 people should have to be spread over hundreds of square miles. Once contact is joined with the enemy, a battle screen comes up. On here is a representation of the battle and a cursor. By moving the cursor onto one of your troops and pressing fire, you can give him no females, not even Queen Galadriel, a target enemy to go and fight. Apart from defending themselves, your troops have no other way of fighting the enemy. That is, they're too stupid to work it out for themselves. The battle scenes can't be skipped either. You have to endure watching the same graphics, making the same moves over and over again. I'm not impressed. There are 1 or 2 bugs in the game, which sometimes keep the battle screen up even when you've dealt with the enemy. Sometimes your troops multiply. Boromir once had a string of clones behind him, all moving in the perfect time. Compared to the excellent 16-bit versions on the ST and Amiga, both of which I've seen, the CPC effort is mediocre. That's not to say you can't get some fun out of the game, only that it's not really worth the effort. Second opinion. You'd have to have a pretty strong Hobbit habit to need feeling with War Middle Earth. Pretty packaging, shame about the game. Green screen. A foggy day in Middle Earth. The verdict. Oh, the verdict. Graphics 68%. Campaign map is good. Other bits average. Sonic 66%. A tune beeps keep the action going. And the spot effects are fine too. Grab factor 41%. You try so hard. The game doesn't want to know. Staying power 58%. 15 levels of difficulty. Not even level 1 is easy. AA rating 57%. Could have been brilliant. Could have been. Alright. Now we have to play the damn thing. Alright. War in Middle Earth! Maelstrom Games Limited presents. Use joystick, use cursor space. Okay. Select controls joystick. Level 6, level 1. Well, they got 3 digits for level if there's only 15. 5, 6, 7. Yeah, it just wraps around at 15. Don't need 3 digits for that. But they put them there anyway. Play the game. Also, I'm not hearing much music here. Oh, there's your music. Music on the pause screen. Yeah, this is a game about Middle Earth, about Lord of the Rings. How do we unpause? Fire button, obviously. Alright. Yes, more Lord of the Rings games. Well, the others are largely all text adventures. This one's a war game, pretty much. Units, I guess, these little tiny dots. It's Gollum. We found Gollum already. Not energetic, determined, not very steadfast, not at all virtuous, not very brave, not very strong, allied to fellowship. Gandalf, wizard, going to Rivendell. Energetic, very determined, fairly steadfast, fairly virtuous, extremely brave, extremely strong, allied to fellowship. Okay, so how do we tell them to move? Oh, Oh, we've got everyone here. Everyone's here. Gandalf, wizard, going to Rivendell. Elrond, elf, going to Rivendell. Pippin, hobbit, going to Rivendell. Merry, hobbit, going to Rivendell. Sam, hobbit. Frodo, hobbit. Yeah, everyone here. Gimli, dwarf. Legolas, elf. Boromir, man, just man, going to Rivendell. Aragorn, man. Oh. So where's Rivendell from here? Go back to the map. Is it actually listed on the map? Of course it's not. Of course it's not. Alright. A company of 28 men. Going to this location, somewhat energetic, somewhat determined, not very steadfast, not virtuous, brave, not strong, allied to fellowship. Set destination. Everyone. Right, move them over here. Oh, more here. A company of 14 elves. Elf in command. Company of 19 elves. Company of 8 elves. Company of 6 elves. Company of 20 elves. Company of 14 elves. That's a lot of elves. I don't know, move them here. Move them somewhere. Celeborn, elf. Going to wherever that is. Well, he's right there. So he's not going anywhere. You have 14 elves. Set to join. Right, back to the map. You got plenty to move around. Brand 3, man, going to Dale. Oh. Thranduil. Elf. He's not going anywhere. A company of 23 dwarves. Okay, don't split them. Denethor. Man. Going to Minas Truth. Okay. I see those where he's going then. How do we end a turn? Nothing to report. Oh, it's our time. Going to Helm's Deep. They start going somewhere. Going to Edoras. This is all thank. God damn it. When do we get battles? We want battles. Nothing to report. Anything happening? When do we get a battle? Oh, here we go. Prepare for battle. This is battling. The battle commences. We just sit here and watch. There's nobody here. It's an enemy for me to attack. Here we go. The battle has ended. That wasn't so hard. Oh, another battle. All of them go. Battles. Look at half of them just standing there. Not much happening. Come here, lazy guys, come on. Go on, double team them. Battle has ended. Prepare for battle. 28 men, 29. Let's go, 29 men. They're all just standing there, just doing nothing. So it's being double teamed. Do something about it. Do something. Done. Okay. Anyway, I think that get an idea of the game to some extent. Exactly what you're supposed to do, I don't really know. I'm sure the instructions would probably clear that up a bit. But, yeah, this is the sort of game that you'd be playing this for hours probably. So it's got save options. So, yeah, if we get too stuck into it, we'll move on. Next game is Chuck Yeager's Advanced Flight Trainer by Electronic Arts. $8.95 cassette, $14.95 disc, joystick keys. In the middle of a Cuban 8 engine stalls, suddenly your P-51 Mustang is flying downwards. Attempts to restart the engine cause the plane to pitch and yaw helplessly. You're pulling negative G's and begin to red out. This is it. Curtains, unless that is. The hours you put in on General Chuck Yeager's flight trainer have taught you how to survive such a potential disaster. Those who follow the tutorials will live. As for the hot dog pilots who didn't, surely there will be no more than a hole in the ground. Chuck Yeager's been there, done this, flown that, and as one would hope from a real-life top-notch test pilot, the advanced flight trainer he puts his name to is good. It requires just the right balance of technical understanding, progressive learning, and seat-of-the-pants barnstorming to make flying your CPC more realistic, more fascinating, more enjoyable, and more hair-raising than ever before. There have been flight simulators before, and no doubt there are many more to come. But nothing is going to touch Chuck's AFT. For while there are many excellent simulators, their strength has always been the completely accurate recreation of one vehicle. General Chuck, as he's known to his friends, gives you the chance to fly 14. Yes, indeed, he has picked and choose time between some of the most famous aircraft ever built, and a few that never made it past the concept stage. When you fly them, you'll see why. Start with the Sopwith Camel and Avion Spad 13 as the First World War. Move up through the Spitfires and Mustangs up to modern day classics such as the Piper Cherokee and the Lockheed SR-71 Blackbird. Each vehicle varies enormously in handling and flying technique, as you can imagine, with speed and weight differences of over 2,100 mph and 143,000 pounds. This is a lesson you learn the hard way, often at the cost of a plane. Never believe anything another pilot tells you about how to fly. Chuck Yeager. Okay. 1 minute you're behind the go stick of a small Cessna 172 Skyhawk, banking and turning with ease, any mistake easily rectified. Then, flickering through the plane menu, you feel the need for speed. So it's time to hop into the cockpit of the Bell X-1 and discover what it's like to ride a bucking Bronco at Mach 1 at 50,000 feet. Time to relive your breakfast and find out why General Yeager is known as Chuck. It could just as well have been Huey or Ralph. The advanced flight trainer must be said is not at its very best for joyrides, though the occasional power dive from a few thousand feet is good for the blood. Now, as its name suggests, the emphasis is on the development of simulator piloting skills, not for any dull, purely academic reason, but so you can exploit the AFT to its full. But then it comes into its own and allows crazy maneuvers and stunts and wholly impractical airplanes. After loading, you're offered a choice between a demo flight, flight instruction, and acrobatics, plane racing, test piloting, and formation flying. Each of these different schools require different levels of skill within the discipline. Best of all, for the complete beginner or complete crash artist, is the flight instruction mode. This helps you guide through an intensive course of basic flight techniques. There are 3 styles of flying lesson: basic, advanced, and aerobatic. Every level has an additional pull-down menu which allows you to specify which maneuver you wish to learn, such as takeoff, descent, steep left turns, power off stall, or an Elman turn, sort of turning your stomach inside out. The instructor, good old Chuck himself, I guess, flies the plane until you wish to take over, and then prompts your actions by way of a message board and head-up display cursor. The rest of the controls, obviously tailored to achieve some kind of conformity for the ease of us would-be pilots, will manage to achieve some individuality and speed of response, calibration of instruments, etc. Analog displays are difficult to recreate on the screen, but they're clear and easy to read, employing colour for contrast to heighten readability. Who needs them? I just find it ground and aim for it. The use of the graphics outside the cockpit is at once disappointing and refreshing. The weakness of one area balanced and almost explained by the strength and originality of others. The landscapes could be viewed as disappointing considering the length of time the conversion to CPC took to arrive. The blocks and pyramids that go to make up the buildings and obstacles are perfectly crisp from a distance, yet as they're approached on occasion, they sometimes tend to lose some definition and make ultra-close navigation impossible. But then again, who wants to fly that close to a pyramid at 400 mph? We flew from dawn to dusk 6 days a week. I logged 100 hours of flying that first month. Hog heaven. Chuck Yeager. Okay. To give you some idea, the pyramids aren't quite as good as total eclipses, but then again, you're moving much faster. The not-so-hot surrounding graphics can be forgiven instantly, though, when you take into account the variety of views from which you can watch your aircraft's progress. Yes, you can flick happily between no less than 10 perspectives to get the best view of yourself crashing. Sorry, buying the farm, forgetting my test pilot jargon there. There are 3 from the outside, the tower, the satellite, and a chase plane, and 7 from the plane itself, left, right, belly, up, full forward, rear, and the cockpit. All have a zoom feature for a really good look. Since the emphasis of the AFT is on learning to fly airplanes, the balance appears to be just about right. There is, after all, only so much room on one disc. Enough of the stuff about the controls. Let's get down to some serious flying, because that's what Chuck Yeager is all about. First few moments of overreaction are soon compensated for, and before long you're flying as free as a bird. A rather overweight bird, but never mind. The trick is not to get lulled into a false sense of security and to think that after one guided maneuver it's time to pilot an F-18 in for a hasty landing. Try the tricky stuff too soon and you could well end up with a medal, but awarded posthumously. This is not to say that you can't get away with dangerous flights or the occasional reckless landing. Rick fool? Death is never fatal in the AFT world. And the worst that can happen is one of General Yeager's caustic comments, delivered by a screen portrait in glorious glowing red. That's a sorry way to land an airplane. When the basics have been covered, and your ego and stomach have recovered from the embarrassment of totaling aircraft even on the simplest of maneuvers, you feel the need to reach for the sky solo, so low you might survive the crash. Of the options available, test flying is by far the best for the first-time pilot, fresh from instruction school. Unlimited flights can be made to the various airports, the aircraft race track, and the many aerobatic obstacle courses. These are all quickly reached via the main and pull-down menus. But for the first few flights, a bit of harmless sightseeing is a good way to get the feel of mini planes. On the test flight section, the aim is to take the plane of your choice and thrash it until you know how fast, how high, how much of everything it can do. Going faster is one of the things I always found myself doing. I guess it's one of the things I enjoy most. Chuck Yeager. With planes such as the Sopwith Camel, it's good fun to take them way beyond their surface ceiling and then to loop and dive these delightfully lightweight planes. The real fun starts, however, when you choose to play with monsters like the X-1, F-16, or even one of the AFT experimental aircraft. Ridiculously fast, the modern age jets rip through the skies as you fight to control these most ferocious of beasts. which find the ground strangely fascinating and simply obey the laws of gravity, whatever the cost to you. The limits of each aircraft are explained in the excellent manual, with the rather austere side of the game's emphasis on learning is offset nicely when the manual challenges you, the test pilot, to go higher. The SR-71 is claimed to have reached 164,900 feet. Climb quicker and dive faster than even the manufacturers claim, and they were the ones trying to sell it. Watch out though, go too fast and you may black out or red out. Do so and the screen realistically blanks out in the appropriate colour until you recover consciousness. Flying in the dark ain't easy, and crashing is. Other options are available. The formation flying and racing gives you something completely different. The lonesome pilot no more. Now it's time to mix it up with the big boys. Then there's aircraft racing, which takes you to do a series of courses, all designed not only to give your competitors a better chance than you, but also to test the levels your skills have reached. Finally, the formation flying has you following a predetermined course, and in and out of obstacles, this time on the tail of a lead plane. Note the option to record these flights for future enjoyment/embarrassment is available for 128k users. The only real minus point for the number of CPC users, as understandably but regrettably, the AFT only has a very limited scope in its 64k guys. You're only able to enjoy the test flight missions. Chuck Yeager's Advanced Flight Trainer will have you looping and rolling for hours on end, regardless of which versions you buy. It features realism by the bucket load and has such a variety of missions and vehicles that the casual pilot who just wants to break the sound barrier every now and again will be more than fascinated. Finally though, its greatest asset is its ability to entertain and at the same time remain constructive. That's if you don't count crashing a multi-million-pound aircraft as anything but self-destructive. It's proof, if proof is needed, that not all computer games are mind-numbing excuses for slaughter and mayhem. To fly these planes properly, you've got to understand how they behave and respond. When you do, the skies, and in the SR-71's case, beyond, is the limit. First aid target score, not applicable, just have fun. Chuck Yeager's Advanced Flight Trainer is due out in the second half of February. Yeah, there he is himself. The man himself, Chuck, why not Ralph or Huey Yeager? That's a sorry way to land an airplane. Be careful, experience makes the best test pilots. In most cases, experience and eager jobs don't mix. Chuck Yeager. The verdict. Graphics 90%. The variety is astounding. Landscape outlines sometimes rough. Sonic 62%. No tunes but plenty of effects. Grab factor 82%. Almost overcomplex at first, but you'll make a pilot yet. Staying power 100%. Fasten seatbelts for a long, long ride. AA rating 91%. Just like being a pilot, only safter. Only safter. Okay. Alright. Now we get to try to fit the game title on screen. Here we go. We're showing it to EA. Everyone knows what EA means anyway. So. Alright, let's get started. Okay. Electronic Arts presents Chuck Yeager's Advanced Flight Trainer, Amstrad Vision by Stefan Walker, earning 128k vision. There he is. Correct 1987, 98, Lunar Research. Insert side B and press return. Return once, not space, return. Okay. Okay. Intro flight. Test flight. Airplane racing. Formation flying. Flight instruction. So for intro flight, let's have a look. Going to do this on its own. Zoom 1. We not switch perspectives. Guess not. No. We're going to watch it from the cockpit. It's all. Everyone's got their bath buckets ready. While it's doing this, I will look up instructions. We probably need a lot of keyboard commands. Spanish, French, Spanish. English. One is English. Oh, finish. If you wish to use a joystick, plug it into joystick port 1. Insert side A. It's just from the 3-page command summary sheet. The full menu is 50 pages long and the typeface is too small for my OCR software to handle it. Oh. Five, throttle, highest throttle off, only during flight. E is rear. Symbol shift? Damn it, it's not a goddamn spectrum. There's no fiber. Yeah. These are spectrum instructions. So keys are 1 to 5 for throttle, I to switch off throttle, in for trim rudder, lift. In for trim rudder, lift and ride, B for brakes, F for flaps, G for landing gear, H for HUD. Power up and down. It's not too bad, the looks of it. Fine. Flight instruction. Straight and level flight. Cruise power set 75%. Elevator setting 1/3 up. I was doing this first for us, is it? Glare shield to horizon constant. Airplane splits horizon on AI. Altimeter constant. Airspeed indicator constant 100 mph. Heading indicator constant. It's just a compass. VSI 0 indication. Should we not put the gear up? Okay. Climb. Straight climb. Climb power set 100%. Again, I think this is doing it for us. Elevator setting 1/2 up. What are the controls for elevator setting here? Does not say. Does not say. Speed indicator constant 75 mph. Heading indication indicator constant. VSO 400 feet per minute climb. start with takeoff. Takeoff. Normal takeoff, advanced power to 100%. Again, it's doing this for us. Takeoff power set 100%. Rotate to climb attitude. Elevator setting half up. Clear shield to horizon constant. Airplane just above horizon on AI. Alternative clockwise movement. Yeah, you see, you wouldn't want it to be anti-clockwise. Airspeed indicator constant, 75 mph. Heading indicator constant. PSO 500 feet per minute climb. Okay. Let's try this, shall we? Fly. I think that will give us control. Normal takeoff. Advanced power to 100%. Oh. 1 to 0 for power. Stupid spectrum manual. Alright. Rotate to climb attitude. Elevator setting 1/2 up. Did I just cut the engine? Alternative clockwise movement. Yeah, going clockwise, going upwards. Should I just stall? I just stalled. So 500 feet per minute climb. Yeah, I don't think this is going well. Passed? I don't know. That's not what I wanted. That's not what I wanted to... Landing. This is going to go well. Beginner landing. Beginner. Flaps full down. Okay, flaps are down. Landing power set 50%. Oh jeez. While reading this, we've got to keep it steady, I guess, as well, huh? Approach airspeed 75 mph. Yeah, it's about that. Stop turning! Stop turning! Elevator setting 1/3 up. Whatever that's supposed to mean. God damn it, stop turning! Damn it. Keeping a level is difficult. This is beginner. It just keeps going. Be nice. Stop. Runway centered and clear shield. That's what I'm trying to do. We're gonna land. Oh! That's what a landing plane sounds like. Bonk. Now what? Brake? Tell me to do something, right? Power idle. Apply brakes. Did we do it? Oh, it didn't crash, I guess. Flight instruction again. Beginner landing. Let's see what this Immelman roll thing is. Set to observe. Let's just watch it do this for us, because I'm sure we'd do it well. Increase power to 100%. Increase back pressure. Whatever that means. Hold level flight attitude. Oh, we're upside down. Whee! Reduce power to 75%. Woman complete. Ah, is that it? Let's see if we can do a Cuban 8. Okay, Cuban 8. Increase power to 100%. Reduce pitch attitude. Increase back pressure. I have no idea what that means. Hold nose below horizon. Oh, yep, do that. And initiate roll. Oh. Stall! Oh, I guess we're crashing. Blackout. Okay. So, resume level flight altitude. Reduce to 75% power. Cuban 8 complete. That's exactly what we did. We did a Cuban 8. Just like that. Don't remember any of it. It's fine. Airplane racing. We'll have a look at this just quickly. Close course, Reno. Okay. Let's go. Do you have to fly through things or what? I don't know how this works. want gear up, right? Can't do anything with that. Through gate 1. Ow! I think we hit it. Slalom. Try slalom, see what happens. Stall. Oh. That's yeah. Eh? Yeah. Come on. Come on, you do it. Oh, down. Oh. The next gate. Tell us where the next gate is. Okay, the next gate over there, is it? I only assume that it is. Too fast? Too fast? What do you mean too fast? I thought this was a race. Please don't tell me that was the wrong gate. No, it's crashing to the ground. Too fast. Boom. That's a slow way to land an airplane. There we go. We'll move on. Where's the magazine? I minimized it. That's where it went. Alright, next game is Airborne Ranger by Microprose. $14.95 cassette, $19.95 disc. Meanwhile, in downtown Antarctica, a lone American steals towards the enemy base. He, and we assume it's a man, I think no woman would be so daft, has been parachuted into hostile territory. His mission, sabotage. Yesterday it was fighting in the desert to rescue hostages. The day before that, kidnapping an enemy officer. Anytime, any place, anywhere, that's a wonderful world you can share. That's the Airborne Ranger. A versatile and overworked soldier who's just dying, maybe literally, to kill. Those action simulation people, micropros, have moved into the realm of arcade-style combat games, where the Airborne Ranger is a keen, lean, mean fighting machine, trained to perfection at taking missions only the very best, or suicidal, or immensely stupid, would attempt. Yes, you are that soldier, and your country needs you. So pick up your M16, grab some grenades, praise the Lord, and pass the ammunition, because you've just been drafted to serve Uncle Sam. Microprose's rock-solid reputation is based largely on the simulation of technology, with games such as the marvellous Gunship AA-37, 82%, and F-15 Strike Eagle AA-24, 85%. Airborne Ranger marks a departure. Now you get to control a man rather than a machine. And with no high-tech weapons or warning systems, it's brain power that will win the day. But only if it's allied with skillful use of your very limited arsenal. Rangers? Arsenal? When's he going to mention West Brom, Ed? Stealth and good planning are as essential to success as speed and daring. Airborne Ranger is an action strategy game that neatly balances the frantic fun to be had from pure shoot-'em-up style games with the more edifying pleasure of spotting and exploiting the weak spots in the enemy's defences. For the game is ostensibly a battlefield simulator. But you have the choice of which battle, the danger level, and choice of tactics. The game commences with a choice of missions, all with varying difficulty levels, peculiarities, and individual testing sections. These range from the theft of an enemy code book, to cutting a supply pipeline, to rescuing POWs. None looks particularly intimidating, but then again, after choosing which corner of a foreign field will most likely be forever yours, you're presented with the option of how dangerous you want the mission to be. There's no setting for completely simple, unfortunately, but there you have it. Having named your poison as off to the wild blue yonder to get airborne and start ranging. You are dropped into the enemy territory from a low-flying aircraft. The screen, in the form of a map used later, then shows you the terrain which you must cross not only to achieve the objective of your mission, but perhaps more importantly to reach the pickup point, that lovely spot where you are whisked back to safety. At this time you also get the choice of where to leave supplies, ammunition, grenade, and first aid kit. You won't want to forget that for later on. And now the moment you've been waiting for, the time to tumble out of the plane towards terra firma and commence your task. The scene changes to where you've landed. 3 terrains are available: Arctic, Temperate, and Desert. While they exhibit variations in map notation, they are much the same, but Temperate is far and away the prettiest on which to meet your maker. Happy landings are a thing of the past. It's carbine and at the ready and time to explore the 3-dimensional landscape and to find that foe. The Ranger, he's the one in the natty blue boiler suit, very nice, but must now fight his way to the target. A check on the position of the supply pods, his own present situation, the objective, and the pickup point, most important by far. Mummy, I want to go home. Having established where you are and where you want to go, the choice is how to get there. Basically, the options are speed and stealth, each having its meant at different times. You must decide from the intelligence map the best tactic. The sensory-activated machine guns nestling in the bunkers, for instance, shoot and really miss. So caution is the thing here. Traversing wide open spaces, on the other hand, invariably attracts those chappies who for no apparent reason have taken such an instant dislike to you. So it's time to get the Reeboks on and make like Ben Johnson before they ask for the medal back. The Rangers are visibly armed on landing, just as the M16 carbine and a few grenades, a knife, some time bombs, and just the one anti-tank missile. Honestly, how do they expect a soldier to do his job? So your first task is to locate and collect the supply pods you dropped for yourself. There is, however, a very strict limit to the amount the trooper can carry, but tough saving the world of a hernia, so it's vital to space out your drop zones. The alternative, which is not very to be recommended, is ask your foes if they mind lugging equipment around until you could kill them with it. The current state of your armory is shown on a panel to the right of the game screen. It informs you what's left to use, which weapon you are employing at present, and the like. On the opposite side is your current health panel, how many of them you can kill versus how quickly they're going to kill you, which tells you how your stamina is holding out, how many times you've been shot, 3 wounds and it's time to play that last post, and how much first aid there is in your packs to treat those wounds. 1 pack of first aid heals 1 wound, and there are only 4 packs available, so you be careful now, you hear? Once again, here's one of those Microprose maps. Did they buy a job lot at software auction, do you think? To plan the best way of approaching your target, making sure you pass by the supply canisters along the way. The routes you choose depend on the task at hand, and some routes contact with the enemy is discouraged, as the objective may scarper. They also kill you, while others require no such stealth. When the noise of bullets flying past your ears starts to get tiresome, and a bit of serious hiding is called for, the landscape provides all manner of cover, walls, tree stumps, and some impressive graphics of trenches to cower in. When you finally fought, crept, crawled, and blasted your way through to the muck, bullets, and barbed wire, it's time to earn your crust and one of the soldiering elite. Rather than just fighting and killing a bigger, more powerful version of the same opponent you've locked horns with all game long, however, each mission features a different task as a finale. Some involve the use of time bombs collected en route to blow up installations, which, needless to say, upsets the locals a touch, and thus makes surviving to celebrate your victory that much less likely. Other missions require that as little attention as is attracted to your person, such as photographing an enemy aircraft, nice touch with a flash gun, very Fleet Street hack. After completing your task, it's time to recall the pilot who dropped you in this mess in the first place. But guess what? You've got to wait around for him to arrive. Don't pilots and rangers get on or something? First he's dropping you miles away from where you want to go, then he takes his time on the pickup. Honestly, it's like the 74 bus. While you wait for keeping yourself alive, let alone anyone you've kidnapped or rescued, can prove terribly tough on the nerves. All this action is played out on an impressive, but not, it must be said, stunning, three-dimensional screen. With a landscape which scrolls past as the Ranger remains central. Graphic effects for the trenches provide some nice touches, with Mr. Airborne disappearing from sight momentarily as he dives into them, or as he crawls under the lip of a trench for protection from fire. Other graphics, though, fall just short of this high standard, and most certainly do not live up to the level of the Commodore 64 screenshots, cheek or what, on the packaging. Similarly, the movements of the slightly jerky sprites are good, but not exceptional. The targeting of the weapons is a great solution to the tricky problem. A cursor floats around the Ranger, and anything that is in line of fire is deemed to have been hit. This cursor is also far more mobile than the Ranger himself, allowing for greater accuracy when the going gets tough and the tough get going, without having to constantly moving your man from cover. Your tolerable sound effects are essential to your survival, since they give you early warning either of approaching troops or of automated machine guns. There is hardly any music except a tiny snatch as you move between 2 of the screens. You may feel that 12 missions is not enough. Take into account your ability to select the relative difficulty of each scenario, though, and the scope for continued enjoyment of this game is vastly widened, as is the number of situations in which you may win death or glory. Airborne Ranger is fast and fun and calls on the old grey matter just enough to save itself from standing with the massive wham bam you dead man games. Practice soon improves your ability to aim the carbine and the strategic level of your thinking. Then it's time to start winding up the degree of difficulty and choose a harder mission. Don't fire till you see the whites of their eyes. First day target score. Complete a mission. Second opinion. There are plenty of commando-style games around where you run up the screen shooting the enemy and staying alive. The genre is certainly fast and furious, but it's never taxed the grey matter much. Until now, that is. Airborne Ranger has, in addition to the strategic features of objectives, limited ammunition, and so on. What's impressive is that in gaining them, it has lost none of the blood-thumping action. It's in a class of its own. It has to be said that for long-term gameplay, it doesn't measure up to the likes of Gunship. At the same time, though, additional excitement exists in the fact that completing a mission is not guaranteed by skill or planning. Pace and action are very good indeed. The only minor niggles are the price, which is on the steep side of £20, and the look of the game, which could and should have been more colourful. The screen in green. Some on-screen info, such as wounds indicator, becomes invisible, but still playable. The verdict. Graphics 91%, absolutely brilliant in places, but only good in others. Sonic's 48%, not overwhelming, but useful. Grab factor 93%, instant appeal with quick play instructions. Staying power 88%, 12 different missions, and plenty of difficulty choice. AA rating 90%, great idea, great game. Okay. I'm still running MAME, aren't I, huh? Alright. Ah, go to do our thing. Airborne Ranger. It's a dude. Please select your mission. Destroy munitions depot. Steal a code book. Disable enemy aircraft. Capture an enemy officer. Cut a pipeline. Knock out enemy radar. Disable SAM site. Liberate a POW camp. Photograph test equipment. Free the hostages. Create a diversion. Delayed sabotage. What shall we do? That's the level 3. Let's steal a code book, see if we can do this. Steal a code book. Mission difficulty, easy to hard. Change your 1 to 7. Move the slider with your joystick and press fire to select. We'll stick with easy. Mission assignment. Steal a code book. Infiltrate an enemy headquarters area. Find the communications post and move next to it to steal the code book. Warning, enemy units are expecting trouble. This is a temperate mission. Memorize your objective and then press fire to start mission. Airborne Ranger from MicroPro Simulation Software. Here we go. Assume it's from around here that we get to. It's a takeoff area. I think it's the X if I remember correctly. Drop a thing here. Drop another thing there. Another thing there. This is where we jump out. Okay, so we can just crawl through here like this, and no one will notice. Until we have to get out, of course. That's the other thing. Oh, we hear footsteps. How do we go to map? Oh, that's right. Shift is map. Okay. Boys and dudes. Dead. Alright, got rid of them. Should no one notice the thing. There's US! Oh, he's dude waiting for it. Oh, he's dead. Okay. Grenades. Can we grenade this thing? That would be a no. But rockets, of course. That is not helping. Okay. I don't think we can get rid of those much now. Stick for a gun, we just go this way. I'm dying. Throw a grenade, you idiot! Well, regrettably, you did not survive the mission. You earned 200 merit points for elimination of enemy troops and installations comprising 4 soldiers. Your final score was 200. This is a disabled enemy aircraft. I think this one requires stealth. Let's see if we can stealth our way through. Stick with easy. Disable enemy aircraft. Avoid enemy contact until you arrive at the runway area. Premature contact may cause the enemy aircraft to leave. When you reach the runway, destroy all jet fighters stationed there. This is an Arctic mission. Arctic mission. Memorize your objective. Okay. We have just one plane there to destroy. Think in high difficulties, you have more. So I think the water's frozen so you can walk over it as well. Drop one there. And one there. And to keep things quiet, you'll use our knife. So if anyone gets close enough, I won't hear a damn thing. Oh, that's right, I got first aid. Forget how that's used. Stab. Dead. And I'm sure no one heard a thing. Oh look, he's waiting for me. Stab. Dead. Actually, I think we probably should go the other way. Might be a better idea. What are we going to do here? So what we probably should do is run right up the front of the... See what this does first. Between here. And run! And then again, I get the feeling there might be... Yeah! Patches of ice that break. Okay. Oh, I didn't notice that. Stab. Stab. Think they're onto us yet? Oh, he's gone. Come back here. Oh no, there's a thing there. It's still there. It's still there. Where should we go? Strike. Oh, here's another thing here. Come here. We won't pick it up. Never mind then. Try not to fall in. Oh! We fell in. Damn it. Right, one more attempt. Let's try to cut a pipeline. Cut a pipeline. Penetrate the defenses around a pipeline pumping station and destroy it. This is a temperate mission. Coded by John Gibson. Can we get through the water? Or are we just going to land in the water? We're going to land in the water, aren't we? Oh, water does not kill us. That's good to know. Water does not kill. I was beginning to wonder, because if it's anything like Commando, it's cool for our trenches here so no one notices. See if we can get rid of this placement over here this time. Let's see if we can figure these out this time. Switch weapons, another dude just appears. Just like that. Another one. Keep appearing. Perfect. A wound. How do I use first aid? Delete. Delete uses first aid. Okay. Let's go. Okay. Use the first aid. Got one first aid left and 3 wounds. Well, 3 non-wounds. Well, no wounds. Let's put it that way. Where are we now? That does not work. Well, wrong button. Here we go. That did not work. Grenades do not stop those things. We've got to use rockets. We've got 2 rockets. Send them when we need them. Hit him! I want to put this up so I can get more first aid. Oh, goddamn. When can I pick this up? Clearly it's not going to let me. I have to do this carefully now. around. Okay. We can't take any more. That's our takeoff spot. Okay. This way. There's never any rush. Can't run anywhere. No rush whatsoever. That being said, the time limit's not exactly short. Okay, so can we destroy this with grenades? It's the big question, I guess. We need rockets in. Oh, out of rockets, never mind. We can do that. Let's see something. Can we just shoot this? We haven't many rockets to use, so. We're kind of stuck now. Once I go back and get the last pack that I assume I would probably now be able to pick up. And do that, I guess. All the way over there. Let's try to... Oh, never mind. Intelligence reports mission not accomplished. Regrettably, you did not survive the mission. You earned 1,550 merit points for elimination of troops and installations comprising of 27 soldiers and 2 military targets. Your final score was 1,550. I used to know how to play this game. It's sort of one of sort of forgotten. At least there are more details as to what you should do and where. I've played it before and finished missions, but yeah, not sure I've got any videos of it though. Not I forget. So yeah, let's move on. We'll do one more game. One more game is Treasure Island Dizzy. You may need more than 15 minutes for this one. Codemasters, $2.99 cassette, joystick or keys. In the beginning, there was Dizzy. For those of you not acquainted with the little chappie, where were you when we featured him on our cover cassette just a few short months ago in AA37? Dizzy is the Oliver Twins egg-shaped character who bounces around with a stupid grin on his face, getting himself into trouble all the time, and generally finding life rather too much to cope with. Just think of Pat McDonald and you won't be far wrong. Anyway, as I said before, there was Dizzy, and now there is Treasure Island Dizzy. We're promised, threatened with, might be a better phrase, a whole string of sequels. Dizzy, the yoke's on us, Dizzy, eccentric millionaire. Dizzy, the yoke's on us, Dizzy, eccentric millionaire. And dozens of others, and a tenner for the best top 10 rotten egg puns at the usual address. If you bought Dizzy, read our Codemaster's profile in AA36, or played the AA Special Edition, you'll know already what to expect. It's a sideways scrolling flick screen game. Scrolling was a flick screen. Make up your minds. With Dizzy bouncing or walking along and confronting various obstacles and difficulties. Your first problem, for instance, is how to get an exit off the beach, and neither of the two options available to you seem very hopeful. On your right is the sea, and as the instructions point out, everyone knows that eggs are air breathers. Oh, really? But if you jog or bounce leftwards, you come to a cliff. It's enough mince pies and wine. Sinclair User and stuffing. Oh, no. Wait, what? Yeah. That's enough mince pies and wine, Ed. The solution would seem to involve that empty wooden chest you see over there. I shall say no more, except that anyone who can stand on the chest might be a contortionist. Still, it's a step in the right direction. Having solved that one, you amble along nicely for a while, collecting tubes of toothpaste, clumps of mushrooms, and copies of Sinclair Abuser. Surely that can't be of any use, can it? The joke, by the way, is an Oliver Twins complaint about what happened when Dizzy visited Sinclair User and had the stuffing knocked out of him, literally. As usual, there's a traditional Oliver Twins voice synthesized phrase at the beginning of the game. For a change, it's crystal clear, and you can distinctly hear the phrase, hobble-lobble-lobble-lob. Tell me, does anyone else apart from the Olivers and their Codemasters chums really think a couple of garbled words add significantly to the game's attraction? I don't think it's that garbled. There's a gorgeously mindless little tune, courtesy of David Whittaker, playing incessantly that will pretty soon have your mum chewing the carpet. But other than that, there aren't any sound effects. Controls are fairly basic: ZX, space and enter for left, right, jump and pick up, drop, or use respectively. Or alternatively, you can use the joystick. Your mission is Dizzy stuck on this treasure island is to escape. There are two routes, one tricky and one even trickier. The first is to find a way off the island and, as the twee scenario put it, back to the yoke folk. The other is to collect all 30 pieces of treasure that will be scattered about the place. This is by no means as easy as it sounds, for some of them lie in apparently inaccessible places, and others are hidden under other things. In reality, of course, the real aim of the game, as far as you're concerned, is to wander around collecting treasure as you explore your island. You catch sight of an interesting looking area only to find that you can't get there, which of course makes you want to find out what's there all the more, and your immediate objective becomes to find a way to it. Take care, however, for you only have one life. You can be bouncing around quite happily, for instance, when all of a sudden you get clobbered by a huge cage dropping out of the sky. Not a thing you can do about it either, except pick yourself up, dust yourself down, and start all over again. It's all tremendously exciting. Ouch. It can hardly be said that Treasure Island Dizzy represents any great advances in computer technology. The controls, for instance, are unsubtly blocky, but then again, that doesn't make it a bad game, and especially when it's £2.99, Codemaster's new bottom price level. In fact, I enjoyed it tremendously and was keen on keep on playing it, except that young David, who was in the office at the time, wouldn't let me. Still, a clip around the ears soon sent me him packing. If you want strategy, hard intellectual effort, or the opportunity to blast away dozens of aliens or soldiers, steer clear. This ain't no Microprose gunship, and it ain't no Operation Wolf either. But if you know the Oliver Twins' work and enjoy it, you'll need no further recommendation. P.S. When you pick up the spade in the sea, remember to come out of the water before you use it. Otherwise, when you put down the other items, you have to put down the snorkel, and you'll drown, as I found out to my cost. Second opinion. I liked it. It has good graphics and the music is a cheerful little tune. It's easy to start playing, though the controls aren't very sensitive. You should get more than one life because it's a bit too difficult and a pain to have to go back to the beginning every time. Overall, I think it's brilliant for the price. I'll probably buy it myself. David Patient, 12. The screen in green? Fine. The Oliver Twins' latest extravaganza. Location, a treasure island. Objective, escape. Motto, I am an egg. I am not a number. The verdict, graphics 74%. Dizzy is instantly recognizable and moves amusingly. Very samey backgrounds, trees and steps are all the way. Sonic 64%, a persistent, cheerful tune. 5 synthesized words, big deal. Where's the sound effects, lads? Grab factor 84%, instant appeal. You'll be hooked. Staying power 63%. You'll keep trying to get off the island. But when you do, that's it. AA rating 80%, hugely enjoyable. It will be welcomed by all Dizzy fans. Well, off we go. Okay. Dizzy 2. Codemasters Treasure Island. No, we're not cheating. Program the Oliver Twins graphics, Neil Adamson.
Welcome to Treasure Island, Dizzy.
Yeah, I heard that. Design and programming the Oliver Twins. Graphics Neil Adamson. Music and sound effects David Whittaker. What sound effects? Code Master apostrophe yes. The apostrophe is in the wrong place, lads. Let's go. Welcome to Dizzy 2. You are carrying nothing. So yeah. Grab the empty solid chest. And drop it. Hup. Yeah, first puzzle done. Hey, a coin. Hey, another coin. He's 2 of the 30. Legend has it that Hookjaw the pirate, buried here, still guards over his treasure. Tube of toothpaste. The Snuggles Treehouse Complex, deserted now, since the threat of tourists ruining the peaceful life. A misty glass window. There's a coin behind it. So this way. Clump of mushrooms and another coin. And yet another coin. There's 5 of them already. Yeah, he's one of them nasty cages. Leave the toothpaste there. People here goes. He's one of them cages right there that you can't see. It's off screen. Oh, look, we've got another mine. If you're looking for more coins, you try everywhere. You can't always see them. You may have to pick things up to find them. No. Danger! Blasting area. We can't get through here. Cage up there. Good. Coin. Get up here. You can't get up there. No cage here. Up here. Up here. It's coin. 8 coins. Nine coins. Okay, this house is solid. On my way to the snorkel. It's down somewhere. It's not here, is it? Just have to go to that other hidden cage. Always forget about at least once. Up here. Up here. Here's the snorkel. Look, I'm sure that did something. Cute. There you go, a rubber snorkel. Everything goes swing. Jump. Wait. That's another coin. One thing we can do with the Sinclair Abuser mag. No. Alright, we can drop it in the water for points. Fancy rescuing fair maidens? I know I do. Then you should try Super Robin Hood. It's a Rescue the Maiden simulator. jellyfish. One hit. Death. Instant death. And you get one life. Of course, you get one life. Alright. Right, we need that spade. Okay, don't jump there, that's... well, death.
Treasure Island dizzy.
Alright. One last go. Instant death. Yeah, I grew up with the Amstrad as well. Yeah. I played a lot of the original Dizzy as well back in the day. Right this way. Jump. In. Trying to go swimming again. Try not to touch jellyfish. It's a bad idea. Don't jump here, otherwise you'll catch the fire and die instantly. Fire bad for you, apparently. Wait. I gotta do a platform where the platforms are here, because Under the rock. There we go. Yeah. Now we gotta jump over this damn crab. Okay. Stay. Okay. Now we're gonna go back. Out of the water because we can't drop the snorkel while you're underwater. That would be stupid. Especially after the review specifically warned us. Okay, now we're back down. Okay, now we get bubbles. Oh. Pro Ski Simulator, one of the classics that made the word simulator stand for quality. It's a shame other publishers are abusing it. No. We'll leave that snorkel there when we come back. The woodcutter's axe. Pick up a coin. Pick up. No. Old Holy Bible. A big red heavy rock. Hey, there's a coin behind it. Let's pick up these mushrooms. Alright, got this dude. The coin here. Suppose you want off this island. I'll swap you a boat for something valuable. Not this bucket. Key. No boarding the boat until it is moving. Well, I'd have to have a boat to start with. Large golden key. I don't remember what we need. I suppose a large golden key would be valuable. No good to me, and if it was, I'd have got it myself. The key is used to start the boat, don't forget. Oh, don't know which of the fish. Okay, what? Something killed me. I don't know what.